king.
So, you think you guys got a lot in common?
In some aspects, yeah.
How are you guys different? Both.
Terence Crawford has recently enlisted the help of Floyd Mayweather in preparation for his upcoming fight against Canelo Alvarez in September. He made this decision early, as he has no plans to take on any other fights in 2025, choosing instead to focus entirely on the Canelo bout.
Hit and not get hit, and to make the adjustments that he's made to certain fighters.
Terence Crawford isn't taking any chances against Canelo Alvarez. Instead of training alone, he has brought in the skill and experience of the first man to defeat Canelo, Floyd Mayweather. Due to the weight difference, Crawford decided to start training camp early, giving himself time to add weight and get comfortable with it ahead of the September clash. Although he plans to take a short break mid-year, Crawford welcomed Mayweather into his camp well before then, and the two shared a productive and enjoyable training period. As expected, Mayweather focused primarily on Crawford's defense, working on the shoulder roll, footwork, and body feints. Perhaps Crawford felt this was exactly what he needed, especially as he transitions into a new weight class in less than a month. While fans often draw comparisons between Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Terence "Bud" Crawford, Crawford has shown nothing but respect, refusing to deny the undefeated legend the credit he deserves.
Boxing, I think, I take more chances,
Excuse me, Crawford.
right now,
But Terence Crawford has deep appreciation for Floyd Mayweather, and when asked about their similarities, he had plenty to say. "He's the king," Crawford said, praising and acknowledging Mayweather's greatness. He went on to explain, "We do have a lot in common in certain areas, but we're also a bit different. I tend to take more risks." Earlier in his career, Floyd took a lot of chances too. It really depends on which version of Mayweather you're talking about. Are you referring to Money Mayweather or Pretty Boy? Because Pretty Boy...
Boxing, I think, I take more chances,
Excuse me, Crawford.
right now,
Later in his career, Mayweather began to suffer hand injuries, which affected his punching power, especially as he moved up in weight and faced bigger opponents. Like Crawford noted, they share many similarities, but fans and analysts often compare the two to determine who's the better fighter. When Mayweather fought Canelo Alvarez, the Mexican star was just 23 years old, while Floyd was in his mid-30s. Despite the age difference, Mayweather's defensive mastery was on full display, making it nearly impossible for Canelo to land clean punches over 12 rounds. Over the years, Mayweather has trained several elite fighters, including Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, and Gervonta "Tank" Davis, all of whom have benefited from his vast boxing IQ. Now, Terence Crawford joins that list. Some may wonder why a veteran with 40 professional fights would turn to Mayweather this late in his career, just a few bouts away from retirement. The answer is simple. Crawford's upcoming fight will be his debut at 168 pounds. To navigate the challenge of a new weight class, he sought guidance from Mayweather, a 5-division world champion with invaluable experience. Speaking to TNT Sports Boxing, former 2-time heavyweight world champion Tyson Fury weighed in, saying that weight would be the key factor in this contest. He believes Crawford could have beaten Canelo had they met earlier at a lower weight, but at super middleweight, where this fight is expected to take place, Fury favors the Mexican.
You to watch it.
Is the skill level of Crawford equalize the weight, in your opinion?
I think if they fought, they'd obviously be the same weight, would they not?
Yes.
So
Here, we have Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez, a very tough matchup between two elite fighters from different weight classes. The big question is, at A, what weight would this fight happen? If it's at 168 pounds, I'd lean toward Canelo. But at 140, I'd pick Crawford. So, considering the likely scenario, I'll go with Canelo. He has made it clear that he won't drop weight for this fight. which aligns perfectly with Crawford's goal of pushing himself to the limit by moving all the way up to 168, a full 14 pounds heavier than his last fight.
Crawford going from 47 to 68.
Maybe he would bring Canelo down to 60 or 54 or something. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know.
Do you have a
Whether or not the fight will actually happen remains to be seen. Terence Crawford appears more eager to make it happen, while Canelo Alvarez has stated he'd take the fight, but only for the right price. Despite the uncertainty, the highly anticipated showdown between Crawford and Canelo seems closer than ever. Reports suggest that both fighters have agreed to terms for a mega fight set to take place this year, uniting two of boxing's top pound-for-pound talents. The deal reportedly came together after both men met separately with Saudi advisor Turki Al-Sheikh in London over the weekend, following over a year of speculation and negotiations. While most of the boxing world is buzzing with excitement over the potential matchup, it seems not everyone is sold.
I heard him say, I'm easy work. If I was easy work, well, you know, you would take all that money that he's offering you.
With GervontaDavis seemingly not a fan of the Crawford versus Canelo matchup, his coach, Calvin Ford, has also weighed in with his thoughts on how the fight might play out. The debate over who would win between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez continues to heat up, as fans and experts speculate over a potential showdown between two pound-for-pound greats. While the bout would demand a significant jump in weight for Crawford, it hasn't stopped the buzz. Speaking to
Terence Crawford, Canelo situation, do you think that's a fight where they could get to a weight that makes sense? Do you think that the weight would affect Terence Crawford?
I mean, Canelo's the king. Whatever he say.
Canelo is the king, and it's a great fight that I'd love to see, with an intriguing outcome. Canelo has been making some smart moves in his career, and Ford also discussed Crawford's performance in his last fight, where he moved up to 154 pounds to defeat Israel Madrimov. While Crawford couldn't secure a stoppage, it was his first time at that weight, and it's clear that he still carried his power with him. He had to make adjustments, just like when David Benavidez moved up in weight. It's all about the fighters making those adjustments. I hope Terence Crawford...
I'd like to see that fight, the outcome of it, you know what I'm saying? And then watching Canelo been making some good moves, you know, as far as fights and whatnot, you know.
Ford concluded by explaining why he believes Crawford is so determined to pursue a showdown with Canelo. Terence is a bad boy, he said. He's moving up because he wants the fight. He isn't getting any younger, and he's doing everything he needs to do to cement his legacy. While Crawford has been laser-focused on securing the Canelo fight, he has also found himself in a heated exchange with Teofimo Lopez.
Before you think at 147, how does a fight with you and Terence Crawford look? 147?
Over the last 2 years, Crawford has made a strong case for being the top pound-for-pound boxer in the world, especially after his dominant performance against Errol Spence Jr. in their super fight at 147 pounds. Davis, who fights at 135 pounds, was asked how he would fare against the 147-pound Crawford, and Tank boldly claimed he could beat the bigger fighter in 6 rounds. 47? You know he's going to sleep. He ain't got no chance. I got it in round 6. The significant weight disparity has become a point of debate in the boxing world.
Who knows?
That smile's telling me something else, bro. I think it might be on the line, no?
I'm just saying, man, we can't say it's not going to happen. We can't say that it...
I don't like that fight, Tyson explained on the Come and Talk to Me podcast on September 20th. Too much weight for Crawford. He had a close fight with the last guy he fought, Israel Madrimov, because Madrimov was big and really awkward. He shouldn't have even fought that guy. Tyson makes a valid point. Crawford faced one of his toughest challenges to date against Madrimov, who was undefeated before their encounter. Despite being 6'1", taller than Canelo, Crawford has a wiry frame and would likely give up mass and strength when competing in...
Terence Crawford calling out Canelo.
You know, I don't like that fight.
Why not?
I don't like that fight. It's just too much weight, you know, and
I think the key is knowing when the right time is for your body to move up the healthy way, Crawford told Yahoo Sports. Before fighting Madrimov, I moved up in weight because I wanted to fight the best guy in the division. Nobody can trump the ambition of a professional fighter. Crawford might soon have his chance to chase all-time greatness against Canelo. The weight disparity.
He had a close fight with the last guy he fought, Terence, because this guy was big and he was awkward. He was really awkward. He shouldn't have fought that guy. He should have fought a guy that would just come straight at him. The guy was too awkward.
He's herky-jerky.
It's surprising to see Floyd Mayweather willingly train another fighter, especially after the chaos that unfolded between him and GervontaDavis last year. It just shows how much Mayweather respects Terence Crawford and how much he's willing to take another big risk. Mayweather and Davis had worked closely together, with Floyd aiming to mold Davis into a superstar. Their relationship was a strong one. However, in April, just a few days after the big fight between Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, Mayweather went on a rant targeting an unnamed group of boxers. He called them out for not taking the craft seriously and instead focusing on their appearance in the ring. Pretty Boy Floyd then used his own career as a point of comparison. The athlete argued that these fighters only look at the finished product of who he is as inspiration, without recognizing the hard work that got him there. A lot of times, what these fighters are looking at is Floyd with the cars, with the flashy lifestyle, Mayweather expressed. Man, listen, I made so many sacrifices. Y'all are looking at the end result. But when I was champion, with hundreds of millions in the dead bank, I was still grinding in that gym. Y'all are worried about your outfits, how your boots look. You're worried about the wrong things. A lot of you fighters are living check to check. Later, Floyd was asked about the intention behind this video, and he responded by discussing Gervonta Tank Davis first.
Is ungrateful when it comes to you?
Well, my thing is, I've always been there for him.
My thing is I've always been there for him from day one, Mayweather said. We had a game plan, and my goal was to help him become a world champion and take Tank to the next level. I've always been there for him over the years, always positive, always saying great things about him, always pushing him to be great. But over the years, he's constantly going on the internet, taking shots at me, constantly being disrespectful, when all I've ever been is respectful.
And I've always been there for him. And just over the years, you can see I've always been positive, always said great things about him, always pushed him to be great. And
he then referenced the famous video in which GervontaDavis accused him of sending an attack. Mayweather denied Davis's claims and explained his intentions, saying, "A lot of times they like to compare certain fighters, and then I say certain things and they say, 'Oh, he's hating.' There's no difference from when I talked about,
I need all fighters. I said I need all the young fighters that's making money in the sport of boxing. What I need you guys to do is do this."
For instance, when I said that I want all the young fighters making money in the sport of boxing, what I need you guys to do is invest in real estate, whether it's Chrome Hearts, Louis Vuitton, or Mercedes. We need to take our money and invest in things that will allow us to live the same great life after our careers are over. I guess he took that as if he's the only one who wears Chrome Hearts, the only one who wears Louis Vuitton, or the only one who drives a Mercedes. Last time I checked, there are fighters all over the world who wear top-flight clothes.
Take our money and invest in real estate so that we can live that same great life when our careers are over.
Floyd was asked about the top 5 fighters in the lightweight division, and he responded, "As of right now, the 2 biggest punchers at 135 would probably be GervontaDavis, but the most skillful fighter, hands down, would be Shakur."
He want to fight the best they got out there. He's asking, can he fight the best? I believe his contract is coming to an end, so hopefully...
Talking about Shakur Stevenson, Floyd Mayweather compared his skill set to that of Pernell Whitaker, who wasn't the heaviest puncher but had the skill to take on the best and come out on top. I believe his contract is coming to an end, so hopefully we can come together and I can help take him to where he needs to be, making the fights happen that he wants.
We can come together and I can take him to that next level and give him the fights that he want, and make the fights happen that he want.
Floyd Mayweather was asked about his thoughts after Roy Jones Jr. claimed he deserved to be called the best ever, TBE, more than anyone else. Floyd responded, well, everybody, for starters, is entitled to their own opinion. And I'm glad Roy Jones feels that way about himself.
He lived his life
Every
the way he
fighter
wanted to
who has
live
given their
his life.
whole life to
No
the
one
sport of boxing and sacrificed a lot inside that squared circle should feel that.
Gave the sport of boxing their whole life and sacrificed a lot inside that square circle. They should feel that way. So if he feels that way, more power to him.
I have one fight, and it was at a catchweight, but it wasn't my idea. Anyone can go online and pull this up. It was an article. With Canelo, at one point, I believe he thought I was scared of him, that I was afraid. He said, Floyd doesn't want to fight me. I'm willing to meet him at 152 or 152 and a half. Me? I called his bluff and said, if you want to do it, let's do it at 152 or 152 and a half. But after Canelo made the weight, it wasn't like there was a clause where he couldn't gain weight. He weighed in at 152 or 152 and a half, but I think he came in at 168 or close to 170. I came in at 151 or 152. But Roy Jones is one hell of a fighter. He's done a lot for the sport of boxing, and I'm absolutely...
Boot time to take over and start beating the guys around him. He's the best of that group. Bud is in a group above him. Bud don't need to come back down to 47 to meet him. That's crazy.
In an interview with M-City Boxing, Jones Jr. shared his perspective on this hypothetical clash while praising Crawford's talent and skills. The legendary boxer leaned toward Canelo as the favorite, saying, I like Terence, but I'm going to lean towards Canelo with his size early. But if he lets Terence get into the fight, Terence is going to be a problem. If Terence can deal with the size, he will beat him. Jones Jr. also emphasized the importance of Canelo's punching power as a decisive factor in the fight.
Look to try to make history and get out. Get his big bank and get out. His big bank is who? Canelo. He willing to take that gamble.
That's what I'm saying. We don't know until we see Terence get hit because we haven't seen him. Get hit with that power, Jones Jr. said. That's the deciding factor. If you can change Bud's fight plan, you've got a chance of beating him. But if you can't hurt him, you can't change his fight plan, and you've got problems. This analysis underscores Crawford's need to neutralize Canelo's renowned power. If Crawford can impose his technical boxing skills and avoid Canelo's devastating punches, he could stand a chance of pulling off a historic upset. While the potential fight between Canelo and Crawford remains a dream scenario for
If he beats him, he may go fight Benavidez next. If he don't beat him, he say, okay, I took it as high as I could go. I'm done.
That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy if he gets...
International. Boxing Federation interim champion William Skull has been mentioned as a possible opponent. But this wasn't always the case for Roy Jones Jr. The Hall of Fame fighter, current promoter, trainer, and respected analyst Roy Jones Jr. had earlier shared scenarios in which he saw both Terence Crawford and David Benavidez beating Alvarez. However, he went against his former prediction when discussing Benavidez, saying, it's a tough fight to call because Benavidez throws a lot of punches. Sometimes power can intervene and make that a different situation.
I'm not sure about that because Crawford does have punching power and shock, but I think Canelo's a little big. He showed tonight that he's pretty big, so I probably would rather see.
The problem is Canelo willing to take the risk? I don't really think he will right now because I don't think he feels like he has a reason to, Jones Jr. said. If he can't hurt Benavidez early in the first 3 or 4 rounds, I don't see him winning that fight. The two-time 168 lb titleist, Benavidez, has been pounding the table for a crack at Alvarez over the last 2 years. Formerly recognized as the best welterweight in the world, Crawford is open to moving up 2 weight classes for the chance to clash with the Mexican star. Alvarez, meanwhile, maintains that a win against Crawford